Chapter 31. The air felt thick and damp, like the silence that followed the screaming and crying and sirens. The rain had slowed to a drizzle. After Mom and Dad left with the ambulance, Mrs. V took me out of the car and sat me in my chair. She placed the soggy, filthy doodle on my tray. "I found this under the car," she said, her voice shaky. I touched it and burst into tears. As she rolled me to her house, she said, "We're going to clean Doodle up and have him waiting for Penny when she comes home. You hear?" I couldn't tell if she was trying to convince me or herself. I felt dizzy and nauseous. I could not stop shaking. After changing my clothes into warm, dry sweats, she switched the radio to an easy listening station and turned the volume down low. The only color I heard was gray. Miss V stood behind me, gently rubbing my shoulders. "Are you hungry?" she asked. I shook my head no. She continued to massage my back and shoulders until we both could feel the tension slipping away. "I'm going next door to get your Medi-Talker and the dog," she said. "You want anything else?" I shook my head and continued to listen to the tones of smoky gray. When she got back, Butterscotch seemed nervous. She kept pacing and sniffing as if she was looking for something. "I think she's looking for Penny," Miss V said. "Dogs know." She hooked up Elvira to my chair and switched it on, but there was nothing either of us could say. "It's not your fault, you know," she said finally. I shook my head forcefully. Miss V should know better than to say stuff just to make me feel better. "I mean it, Melody. It is not your fault." "Yes, it is," I replied on my talker. I turned the volume up loud. Miss V walked around to where I could see her, leaned down until her face was just inches from my own. "You did your best to warn your mother. You should be proud of yourself." "Not proud. Not enough," I typed. "Sometimes things happen that are beyond our control, Melody. You did everything right." The guilt bubbled up then. "I was mad at Penny," I typed, slower than usual. "Penny knows you love her," she said. Tears slid down my cheeks. "Made Mom take me to school." "So what? The fact that you insisted on going to school, even after what happened to you yesterday, shows you are a strong person, a better person than anyone else there. I'm proud of you for that." "Don't be." "I'm sure Penny will be just fine," Miss V said then, but her voice said otherwise. For the first time I can remember, Miss V sounded unsure. "Will she die?" I had to know. "She was alive and breathing when the ambulance took her, so I'm going to believe that's still the case. Toddlers are very resilient, you know?" I had to know something else. "Her brain? Messed up?" I asked. I had seen enough television shows on brain trauma to know it was possible. My classmate Jill had been in a car accident. I couldn't bear to see Penny like that. Miss V answered thoughtfully and honestly. "I suppose it's possible, but I pray that's not the case." "Two broken kids," I typed. Just the idea almost made me gag. "That's not going to happen, Melody." Miss V's voice wavered. I heard it. I was still for a moment, then I typed, "It should have been me." "Huh? What do you mean?" "Nobody would miss me." "Now you just stop stupid talk like that. My whole world would fall apart if something happened to you. Your parents as well." I'm not sure I believed her. I tilted my head. "Really?" I typed. "I plan to wear purple to your college graduation." "Far away and very hard. Like making the quiz team?" They left me. And they lost. I glanced out of her large picture window and watched the wet branches sway. How could I say it? I looked back at my talker and typed very slowly. "I want to be like other kids." "So you want to be mean and fake and thoughtless?" I looked up at her angry face, then looked away. "No. Normal." "Normal sucks," she roared. "People love you because you're Melody, not because of what you can or cannot do. Give us a little credit." "I want it to be yesterday," I typed. "Yesterday your heart was broken because they left you behind, remember? Rather have that than this." "I know. Oh, Melody, I know." "I'm scared." "Me too." The silent room echoed our thoughts. "I had a goldfish. He jumped out of his bowl," I typed then. "I remember your mom telling me about him." "Tried to save him. Couldn't." The phone rang, startling both of us. I jerked in my chair. Miss V picked it up. "Yes," she said. I strained to listen. "Oh no," she said. My heart dropped beneath my chair. She listened for a long time. "Oh yes," she said finally. Then she burst into tears and hung up. "Is Penny dead?" I typed. The world was spinning. Miss V wiped her eyes, looked at me, and took a deep breath. "She has some internal injuries, a badly broken leg, but she survived surgery. She's gonna live." Then she cried once more. Normal doesn't suck at all. Chapter 32. It's Monday, so I have to return to school today. The temperature has dropped and the sun is glowing like some kind of frosted golden jewel, yet everything feels different and not quite right. Mom spent the weekend at the hospital with Penny, sleeping on a cot in her room. I have not seen her since, well, since everything changed. I wonder if Mom is mad at me. Miss V comes over and helps me get dressed and fed. Even Butterscotch seems to miss Penny. She puts her head in my lap and looks at me with lonely eyes. I can't help her. Dad is a mess. He keeps dropping things like forks and keys. He starts to talk, then forgets what he's going to say. He hasn't shaved. Go and get yourself together, Chuck, Miss V finally tells him. A hot shower and a cold glass of orange juice will do you wonders. When you go see Penny this morning, you don't want to scare the child, do you? Oh, you're right, Dad replies. You've got Melody covered? I'll see she gets on the bus, now scoot. He bounds up the stairs to the bathroom. Penny better? I tap on my board. Yes, oh yes. When I spoke to your mom this morning, she told me that they have taken her off the IV already. Penny was eating applesauce, complaining about her cast, and asking for doodle, which I've cleaned up and ready for her. Penny is going to be fine, Melody, just fine. I inhale deeply. Miss V spoons eggs into my mouth, but my stomach roils with worry. Her leg, I ask? Her leg is in a cast. It's big and clunky and will annoy the heck out of her, but the doctors have said that when she gets stronger, she'll even be able to walk. I'm glad Miss V is always straight up with me. I can't think of anything worse than a teeny baby wheelchair. No, they want her to move around as much as possible. I breathe with a sigh of relief. Her head, I ask? Miss V understands. No brain damage, Melody, none. I exhale slowly. You sure? I spell out. Absolutely. I saw her myself last night. She bumped her head when she fell, but the car hit her leg. It didn't touch her head at all. The school bus honks then, so Miss V wheels me down the drive to meet it. She checks my backpack, adjusts my foot straps, and gives me a big hug. You ready, Melody? Ready to face the quiz team? I nod. After what happened, facing a bunch of snotty fifth graders will be easy. Gus looks at me with concern as he lowers the bus lift. How's your sister? He asks me. That is so scary. Gonna be okay, I type. Thanks. I realize right then that the news like that travels fast. Everybody at school will probably know as well. Gus wheels me into the lift and pushes the button to raise it as I wave goodbye to Miss V. The ride to school is strangely quiet. None of the usual squeaks and grunts from the students who ride the special bus. When we get to school, the air is chilly, so the aides take us directly to room H5. As we get settled, I look at friends there through different eyes. Freddie, who wants to zoom to the moon, Ashley, our fashion model, Willie, the baseball expert, Maria, who has no enemies, Gloria, the music lover, Carl, our resident gourmet, Jill, who might have once been like Penny. Not one of them knows how to be mean. And me, the dreamer who tries to escape room H5, a kid with a computer named Elvira. I don't even know where I belong anymore. Catherine comes in then, wearing a new outfit that is actually cute and stylish, tan slacks, black sweater, and a vest. Nice outfit, I tell her. Thanks, and I did it all by myself. I have something for you. I point to my book bag. She reaches into my bag, digs around, and finds the card that almost led to tragedy. After she reads it, she blinks back tears. No, Melody, thank you. She leans over and hugs me, then looks serious and says, Miss Valencia called and told me about what happened with your little sister. How's she doing? Better, I type. You know you probably saved her life, Catherine tells me. What? Seriously, your screaming and yelling slowed your mother down, gave her time to figure out what you were acting like you had hot potatoes in your pants. Could not stop Mom. I stab out on my machine. You did exactly the right thing. I'm so proud of you. Really? Really, especially after all you've been through at the airport. Do you want to talk about it? No, I type and look away. Maria comes over to my chair and gives me a big hug. You did good, Melly Belly, she says, real good. I'm not sure if she's talking about the quiz team or something else, but my eyes got all drippy and my nose starts to run. I wish I can give her a big squeeze back to let her know how good she has made me feel, but I just tap. Thanks. I'm never sure how much Freddie is aware of what's going on in the world around him, so he surprises me when he zips over at me and asks, Melly go zoom and plane? He looks excited, maybe even envious. No, Freddie, I type. No plane, no zoom. His face scrunches up into sadness, then he drives away. Miss Shannon comes over next and squats beside me. Your head must near your head must be near about to explode from all that's happened in the past few days. Boom, I type, but I don't feel like smiling. Let's talk at lunch, okay, Melody? Okay. Are you going to your inclusion classes? She asks. Yes, I tap. I thought about this all weekend. When I wasn't thinking about Penny, I decided I wasn't going to hide. I want you to know I'm very proud of you." She gives me a big thumbs up, then gets our morning routine going. As it turns out, Miss Gordon is absent today, so the first inclusion class I'm set to attend is Mr. Dimmings. "Are you sure you want to go?" Catherine asks me. Instead of answering, I power my chair towards Mr. D's door. Catherine rests a hand on my shoulders as I whir in. A small brass-colored trophy sits on Mr. D's desk. The room is quieter than normal. Mr. Dimming clears his throat. He shifts from one foot to the other. He runs his finger around his collar of his dim white shirt. He's back to his old, well-worn brown suit. His old shoes as well. Finally he says, "Hello, Melody." His voice sounds fake cheerful. I do not reply. He wiggles so much. He looks like he has to go to the bathroom. I just watch him. No kicks from me, no weird sounds. I'm amazingly calm. I glance over at Rose, but she's looking in the other direction. No one seems to know what to say. At last, I break the silence. I turn the volume up loud on my machine, then type out, "Why did you leave me?" Someone should have been there with a video camera proving that yes, a fifth grade classroom can be absolutely totally quiet. Faces search other faces, each one willing another to speak. Eventually Rose stands up. She looks directly at me and says, "We didn't plan to leave you, Melody. Honest." I look her dead in the eye and wait. I don't react at all, I just wait. She continues, "We all went out to breakfast early that morning." I interrupt. "Nobody told me about that. How come?" None of them answer. Their silence says what their words cannot. It's better without me. I blink real fast. Claire finally stammers. "We figured you'd slow us down because you have to be fed and stuff." It's so quiet, I swear. I could hear my own heartbeat. "You threw up. Nobody left you." "Oh, snap," I can hear Rodney whisper. Claire stares down at her desk. "Who took my place?" Claire lifts her hand slightly, but she won't look at me. Rose scrapes at a spot on her history book. "We finished breakfast really fast because we were all so excited, so we got to the airport extra early." Connor stands up then. He looks uncomfortable. "So when we got to the airport, they told us that the noon flight had just been canceled, but that we could make the early flight if we hurried." Molly speaks next. "So we checked our stuff real fast, then rushed, I mean ran, like track stars, even Mr. Dimming, down to the gate to get that early flight." "Nobody thought about me?" I ask. Silence again. Finally, Elena says, "I did. I was the first one to board the plane. Just as I gave my boarding pass to the agent, I reminded Mr. Dimming that you were missing." Mr. Dimming again twists from one foot to the other. "I was so busy, trying to count heads and check seat assignments and deal with everybody's carry-on bags, so I asked the kids to call you at home. I knew Rose at least had your number in her cell phone." All eyes shift to Rose. She looks at the floor, then slowly she looks at me. A tear runs down her cheek. "You couldn't have made it there in time anyway. I picked up my phone to call you. I flipped it open. Then I looked at the rest of the kids on the team." She pauses. I could imagine them standing there, thinking about the chance to be on Good Morning America with that huge trophy. And me. Rose continues in a whisper. "We looked at each other. Everyone just made a tiny shake. No." "All of them?" I shiver. Rose sniffles and whispers finally. "So I closed my phone and we got on the plane and I never made the call." How could silence be so loud? Mr. Dimming finally says quietly, "I'm so very sorry, Melody. So sorry." Rose bursts into tears, then and puts her head down on her desk. "Just before the competition," Molly explains, "a reporter from the Washington Post came to interview the team, but he left when he found out you weren't there." Connor walks up to the front of the room, then picks up the ninth place trophy and brings it to me. He stammers and licks his lips. The team kind of wants you to have this, Melody, sort of to make up." He places it on my tray. The thing is small, made of cheap plastic that has been painted to look like metal. The name of the school is even spelled wrong on the faceplate. I look at the ugly little statue and I start to giggle, then I crack up. Finally, I roll with laughter. My head jerks and it hits the trophy. I'm not sure if it's an accident or not. It falls to the floor, breaking into several pieces. The class stares at me in surprise. When they see that I'm going to go ballistic on them, they finally start to laugh as well a little. Even Rose sniffs and smiles. "I don't want it," I finally type. Then turning the volume as loud as it will go, I add, "You deserve it." Still laughing, I click on the power to my chair, do a smooth turn, and roll myself out of the classroom.